Well, hey, everybody, it's Alan Thomas.
And Angie Thomas.
And we're with Rethink Dieting. And it's not a diet, it's a decision. And we're joined with one of our rock stars, Miss Suzette Brown, who is, Suzette, say hey to everybody. This is not your first time with us on one of these. So the last time we met, I think it was about in October, and you were down somewhere north of 30, 35 pounds since June, and which is pretty amazing. And I said, it's always fun to do these at different points in time because, so many people, they settle for a lot of reasons. We were actually talking a little bit before we got started. So tell everybody how you're doing. Number one, how you're doing, how you're feeling, and kind of some of the reactions you're getting now that you're down over 50 pounds. Oh my gosh. That's like
right at 55.
That's a small person.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing better. I did have another diverticulosis flare in December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I have no idea what caused it. The doctor doesn't either. So I had to be on antibiotics for another 2 weeks. And that's almost as bad as having the diverticulosis flare.
Oh,
but,
wow.
other than that, I think I'm doing pretty good because, I'm still not on any kind of medications except when I have a flare.
Yeah.
So I turned 61 in January.
Oh my gosh, you're young.
Yeah.
That's right. She's apologizing now. I'm 62, so she's
I'm catching up with you. But anyway, but no, I think I'm doing good. I did doctors or advice was to give up dairy for a while and see if there's something in there that might be creating an issue. So I'm essentially on a plant-based only diet right now. So that's probably what's kick-started, the additional weight loss that's taking place.
Oh, there's a clue. And just to be clear with everybody, I mean, you came to us in June of June. I think it was June 17th, something like that. That's my brother's birthday, so that's why it sticks in my mind. So, but it was in June. You were looking for, and we're not medical professionals. We don't treat diverticulitis. We don't treat any kind of medical condition. Angie and I were just miserable failures with our personal weight, and we figured a way out when we dropped 190 pounds in 260 days together. But you came to us, you were looking for a high fiber or something like that, high fiber diet, which was, and so tell everybody, I mean, what the journey's been like kind of since then, because some of the folks might not have, watched the video that you did with us back in October. I mean, because really all we did was work on your thinking.
Yes. And that's the key to the whole thing anyway, is you've got to change your mindset. I mean, you can do like everything we all tried in the past, the Weight Watchers, the tops, the forcing yourself to eat salad every day. I mean, you can do all that, but if you don't change your mindset and change your habits, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, and it is.
The mindset has to come first, and habits come from that.
That's exactly right. It's the 10%. Do people have to change what they eat to lose weight? Of course they do. Come on. I mean, everybody, do they have to do? But at the end of the day, it's never the thing. But I right before getting on camera, it's the first time we talked in a few months. But when you were on, there were some things that we warned you about along the way that were going to happen. But before you had the belief that you could do this, before you had the belief that the weight was coming off, we had to have it for you. And we totally believed it. We totally knew you could do it. But my question for you is, do you mind sharing some of the things that have kind of popped up as you keep shrinking?
Well, you had told us in the previous classes, and I don't think it was in the modules, but I know we had talked about it on our talks, that people that you knew, your friends, family, you're going to receive negative feedback, even if you didn't ask for it. I've had 1 or 2 people to tell me that, they've noticed I'm losing weight. And one question has been, or are you sick? No, I'm not sick. The other comments has been, well, you need to quit losing weight because you're not going to look like yourself. And I thought that was a little strange.
Yeah, no, and it is because we're taking other people out of their comfort zone. I mean, because they got real comfortable with us. Like people got real comfortable with Angie and I when we were together. We weighed about 500 pounds together. So I was over 300. Angie was pushing the 200 mark, and it was, people get threatened by that because you're changing and they start comparing it. And then, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's really cool. And you and I've had this conversation, what weight does God want you at your present age? And you don't have to answer right here, but I'm saying that's the version of you you're created to be. And so, but human beings tend to fight against that because they're comparing themselves.
They fight against change.
Yeah, for sure.
In general, I think.
For sure. So I'm curious, and I don't think we talked about this in the past, but you brought up something, and like these conversations go, they're just conversations. We're just talking and we're catching up with you and letting somebody who's out there who maybe struggled, for years and years, like I had, like Angie had, like I know you told us you had. I mean, give them some.
Let me have. That's what I said. Like
so like all of us had, and so what my curiosity is, what had you tried in the past? You mind sharing that?
No, well, I've tried, Weight Watchers, and of course, obviously that didn't work real well. It was good for a guilt trip, but for that, beyond, as far as losing weight, there wasn't a whole lot of that taking place. I tried TOPS, which is take off pounds sensibly. That didn't work well. Of course, various things on my own of, creating your own, restrictive diets and whatever, exercise and restrictive diets. And we all know that doesn't work either, because your body just hangs on to what it has because it thinks it's starving to death. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else have we done? I don't know. Oh, I actually had the lap band surgery. Mm-hmm. And that didn't work either because the lap band did not stay where it was supposed to. So we had to go back and take it out.
Thank God you lived.
So,
I mean, there's people that don't live. Thank God you lived through it. Yeah, wow.
I can't.
I said,
you're cutting out on me. I can't hear you.
I said, thank God you survived the lap band. I mean, so many people don't, and I say that sincerely. I mean, people don't survive sometimes. I know it works for some, but golly, thank God you survived it.
And the doctor that did the procedure and then had to go back and take it out, he wanted me to go ahead and sign up for the gastric sleeve, and I had already prayed about it, and the answer I got was no. And I told him, I said, no, I'm not going to do anything else. And he was really upset. He was literally mad with me that I would not do that. And I'm like, I'm not for sure I want him to do the surgery to take what I got out. So
I understand. I mean,
he was real upset with me that I wouldn't agree to doing the gastric sleeve. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I've talked or heard about several people that their health has just gone downhill since they did that. Yeah, they're just not doing well.
And I mean, it's so nice when you figure out that all the power it wasn't in a diet, it wasn't in a surgery, it wasn't in a pill, it wasn't in a special magical food. It was always inside of you. Isn't that fun? I mean, really. So I mean, so you still have some pounds that you're wanting to go to reach your ideal weight. Is what you and you don't have to share that, but I'm curious, and I ask you this every time, but because I really always want to know it. I said, when somebody says to you, "Oh my gosh, don't lose any more weight. You shouldn't lose any more weight. Oh, there's no way you can lose any more weight. There's no way you're going to keep this off. I mean, are you kidding me? How all that negative? What do you say to them?"
Well, it's not just other people. I also have that conversation in the back of my mind sometimes too, because the the old stuff is still there, and I just have to tell myself, be quiet.
There you
Or
go.
we're working on it. It may not be today. I may not meet the 365-day goal, but it's like y'all said too. It's not so much about when you meet the goal; it's just meeting the goal. That's what we're shooting for. Not the day, but that we meet the goal, the goal weight. And but like the lady at church that made that comment the other night, she said, well, when she told me, she said, well, you just need to quit losing weight. You're not going to look like yourself. I said, okay. I said, but I still got a long way to go, and I just walked away.
But let me invite you to another phrase, and you know what I'm going to say. Yeah. When they say that to you, you turn around and say, "Watch me." Because that's awesome. No, you've done amazing, and you continue to. And I mean, what do you think is the difference? So here you are. I mean, you're with all the things you've tried in the past, and you came into our program with looking for a high fiber diet, which we told you we weren't by the gate. I mean, we didn't represent ourselves that way, and here you are. I mean, what do you think is the difference? What do you think? Why do you think it's working?
Well, I think, like we've talked about before, the main thing with what you and Angie do is, number one, you're not in the people's faces about, well, you can't have this, and this, a restrictive diet, if you will. It is about changing the mindset. And there was not just food and losing weight that was the issue. There's also emotional baggage that's got to be dealt with, because the emotional baggage is what helps you hang on to the weight. And that's harder to deal with than the numbers on the scale.
No
the other thing, and the other thing I think I've told y'all too, is before I started with y'all, and before I even knew that y'all even existed in this, it was after I'd had another, last year, January of last year, I had a really bad diverticulitis flare. And it took me months to get over it. And I was on 2 very strong antibiotics for 2 or 3 weeks before it cleared up. And it just wasn't a good time. And I didn't feel well. I was sick. And then when you sit here and you don't feel like doing anything, and the laundry piles up and so forth, et cetera, depression starts to set in. So I was not in a good place when I finally contacted y'all. But after I had after I was getting over the flare, they insisted on doing a colonoscopy, A, because of my age, and B, because I keep having the flares. Mm-hmm. And, when you have to have the colonoscopy, you have to have that wonderful stuff that just cleans you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And once I got over that and got home, I'm thinking, okay, now that we're totally cleaned out, now's a good time to start, keeping that way, and, let's try losing weight. And the first thing that popped into my mind was, and how many times have you tried this and it didn't work? Mm-hmm. And then the second thing I heard, and people look at you strange when you say you heard, but I heard this still small voice that said, but you've never tried it with me. And that was true. Mm-hmm. All the attempts I'd made in the past, I did it on my own.
Yep.
I never did it with the Lord as a team. And that made the difference, because that's when I found your website. Like I said, I'd never heard of y'all, never had it ever popped up on my Facebook feed or anything else. And there you were. And I'm like, nobody will ever convince me that it was an accident. I just don't believe it. It was meant to be. So
I don't think things like that are accidents either. And as you already know, and it's just so funny. It's like today, one of our longtime Rethink dieters crossed the 150-pound mark. That was awesome. And I don't say that to compare. Everybody's on a different journey, but it was interesting. He still to this day has no clue how. He didn't even find an ad. You saw an ad on Facebook. He didn't even find an ad. He somehow stumbled on something. He doesn't even know. It's like the computer fell open with it, and there. So it's there's always, when you figure out what you want, it's almost like, it's almost like God will help you find what will work. And it was always a decision. And what's so cool about it is you're so young, and you're so young, right, Angie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta say,
yeah. Our dog has decided to whine.
Our dog's whining over here.
He's
he's older than all of us, but you are in all these things ahead of you. So congratulations. I mean, we just want to do this quick, catch up with you, and we're positively, we're definitely going to do this again as you reach your ideal weight, because I know it's coming. And don't listen to those voices, because those voices don't know what you're capable of, and God does. I don't even know what you're capable of. Angie doesn't know what you're capable of. We're looking. What's so fun for us is we can't wait to see, so we can find out with you. And but at any rate, but thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody. And real quick, so what Suzette was referring to, she found us at this spot. Go to rethinkdieting.com, and it walks you through the exact training that Suzette watched before she reached out to us, is how Angie and I dropped 192 pounds in 260 days, and how we show folks like Suzette to do the same thing without a diet or exercise plan. Go figure that one out. It's God's story. And then once you watch that, if you want to book a call with us, you can go to transformmyfuture.com/apply, and we'll have an honest conversation with you. There's no place on our website to click buy. There's no place that we are invitation only. And people always say, well, how do you know who? I said, well, meet people like Suzette, meet people like Rick, meet people like Sean. We know them when we see them. And Suzette has not, she's done the work. She did the hardest work of all, which is the work between those earrings she's wearing. That is the hardest work of all. Everybody thinks it's about running an extra mile. I mean, I'm all for that. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks about eating asparagus. Well, if you like that stuff, I mean, some of that's pretty good too, but it's not that. It's the work between your ears that will change everything. It is positively not a diet that's going to fix your problem. It is going to be a decision. Do you have to change what you eat? Heck yeah. Can you have a donut once in a while? If you want to, go for it. There's a way to do it. But at the end of the day, it's a decision, and it's one that will change your life. So, Suzette, God bless you. We're thrilled that you're doing so good. You look amazing. I can see the trim and lean and ready to run your marathon. I don't know if you're going to run it.
I don't know about the marathon part, but yeah.
Now, are you considering jumping out of an airplane like Pastor Scott did?
No. I don't do the height thing. The only way I would jump out of an airplane is if there's something wrong with it.
That's right. Well, that's how we are as well. We're the same way. Jumping out of airplanes not required. So, thank you for watching, everybody. God bless.